Okay, Happy New Year to everyone. It's really great to see everybody. Good morning, good evening, good night for all of us around the world. But it's just fantastic to see so many people here again this evening with us. And we know that hopefully you're going to have a really good, interesting time. I know that I've had a chance to have a brief look at what Lena's going to talk to us about, and it looks really fascinating. So welcome to you all to the first speaker in our new ALM 21-22 virtual seminar series. We're delighted to welcome Lena Lindiskov, who is going to speak to us about connecting mathematics education with democracy, a very important subject, I think, and more relevant than ever, actually, in these very strange times we find ourselves in. Lena is an associate professor in mathematics education at the Department of Educational Theory and Curriculum Studies. That's in the Danish School of Education in Aarhus University, and that's on the Copenhagen campus. Lena has had a fantastic career, and during that career, she's been involved with a wide range of research, but focuses her attention on children's, adolescents, and adults' interests, difficulties in learning mathematics, and of course, most relevant for this seminar today, on democracy related to mathematical numeracy competencies. She's also been involved in many European-wide projects related to adults learning mathematics across borders, mathematics in action, and motivational mathematics, sharing good practice in vocational classroom. And that's to name but three. She's been involved in an awful lot more than that. Lena has also written extensively about the democratic rights and obligations in relation to the teaching of mathematics, digital access, and lifelong learning, both nationally and internationally. She also has a very good reputation in ALM for presenting at many ALM conferences. So thank you, Lena. In addition, Lena's participated in developing the Danish national curriculum, teacher training for preparatory adult education in mathematics, as well as contributing to the Danish mathematics team in PISA from 1999 to 2099. So that's a significant contribution, Lena. So we're very pleased to have Lena with us this evening. And without further ado, I'm going to pass you over to her now to look forward to this very interesting exploration of mathematics education in relation to democracy. Over to you, Lena.
Thank you so much, Beth, and thank you for the very nice words. I will share my screen here. Yeah, the title is How to Encourage Citizenship for Democracy Through Mathematics. We have many meanings attributed to both citizenship and democracy. We are of different nationalities and from different settings, so we have different experiences from practice and from the literature we commonly read. In the presentation today, citizenship means the right and duties to have in your society. A right, for instance, like freedom of speech, and the duty of keeping the law and paying your tax. But more than that, it's more than following rules. Citizenship includes how we perform citizenship, think of ourselves as active participants, engage, and use critical capacity to influence. This is called performative citizenship. Democracy in the presentation today is a formal representative democracy, and it's on the left on this model. In democratic countries, people vote from time to time to select which candidate shall represent them, who should propose and decide on political and administrative issues. But more than electoral systems, democracy includes how we collaborate and approach each other and participate, and how we take everyday decisions. This is called the lived or participatory democracy at the right of the model. Both citizenship and democracy concern government, parliament, but also many other levels. It's also about how we elect boards and how we participate in unions, in housing associations, in educational institutions, and so on. But the presentation today is simplified. It just distinguishes at inside education for adults at the bottom of the model and outside education for adults at the top of the model. I have these 4 sessions, and the first one is about democracy, the formal representative democratic systems, which is outside school. In the world today, we have many different voting systems. The colors show general features. Light blue is proportional representation, so each party gets the share of seats that they got in the popular vote. Red is first past the post, so the winning party in a county gets all these counties' seats. In some countries, each voter casts 2 votes. In some countries, voting is mandatory. In some countries, the number of seats in the parliament changes when the number of casted votes change. But common for all systems is that how to count the casted votes are governed by mathematical formulas or mathematical algorithms. Also, the construction of counties has mathematical algorithms in play, and they have decisive influence on election results. Here at this slide, you can see how an example of 5 seats can be given in different ways. Proportional algorithms always gives 2 red and 3 blue. But first past the post algorithms may give 0 red and 5 blue, or it may give 3 red and 2 blue at the right side. It depends on the construction of the counties. Reconstructions of counties have to be done from time to time because of population changes. But which mathematics you use in this is decisive. When you construct for the good of one party, it is called gerrymandering. This is an example of how application of mathematics has a society-shaping function, or how mathematics has a formatting power, as Ole Skovsmose and Kaiko Yasukawa would term it. Another example that mathematics not only describes and prescribes, that mathematics not only describes and predicts, but also prescribes what is going on in society, comes from this example from the latest election to parliament in Denmark. If the winner takes it all would have been used, then the Danish parliament would have looked like the diagram to the right, with only 2 parties. But the left diagram shows the actual result with a proportional algorithm that is actually used in Denmark. I think you can explore similar examples and discuss fairness in mathematics classes with adult students in your own country. Maybe they can make the calculations themselves. Maybe they can look at the calculations the teacher makes. Next section is the bottom left, and it is formal democracy inside school. What are the rights and duties? History shows examples of injustice concerning people's access to get into mathematics education. So I suggest that teachers can reflect on questions like these. Is mathematics education a democratic right for adults? And are the offers appropriate? Besides, you can also have boards at the school where students vote for who should represent them. And then again, you can do the same discussion of fairness as I showed previously. Next session is the informal participatory democracy outside school. And this is what most critical mathematics education are focused on. How can citizens engage with applications of mathematics? Are applications communicated well in the media? For instance, from the health authority. At the top left, you see a Danish health authority showing graphs on COVID-19. But mathematics at work is also important here. At the picture bottom left, you see a preschool teacher looking at the daily schedule for the children's activities. At the right, a construction worker studies a drawing for a house to be built. You may ask if adult students learn how to make the invisible visible. At present, some hours ago only, I checked the information about how many in Denmark is hospitalized with COVID-19. We are a small population, only 5.8 million. And this afternoon, 777 were in hospital with COVID-19. But this is data from national TV about the numbers back in December. And when we look at these numbers, people may think that vaccinated people are hit most hard by corona. But at the same time, at the national TV, these numbers were reported without conclusion. And I wonder if somebody would think that unvaccinated people are hit most hard by corona. And I wonder if some knowledge on ratio is a prerequisite to draw that interpretation, and that we have the obligation in adult mathematics teaching to teach these issues. The last session is about participatory democracy inside school. How can we encourage citizenship for democracy through mathematics concerning this section? In my view, some teaching approaches may socialize into obedience and submissiveness, which is the opposite than encouraging citizenship for democracy. When the book and teacher ask questions and decide if the adults' questions and answers are relevant and right, it is authoritarian teaching. Instead, I think we should aim for democratic learning processes where collaboration between students are encouraged. In addition, I wish to inform of some experiences from an EU project I was involved in together with Mieke van Gorenstein. It was the project Mathematics in Action. We had learning centers, adult learning centers from 7 countries involved. We used the 6 learning steps from Mieke, and subsequently, I've often thought about this checking number 5. The adult students in the project were working with specific tools to check their own results. It seemed that the right to check results was part of what the students saw as meaningful mathematics. You see at the bottom, one of the citation from, one of the quote from students. They said, when you check, you can be 100% sure. And then the most important one, student says, You do not have to ask the teacher all the time. You are in control. At last, assessment is an issue of how to encourage citizenship for democracy through mathematics. I suggest that assessment questions include something like, did you find the mathematics in the course relevant and meaningful? Which part do you wish to remember? Do you think your voice was being heard? So now I've given you some short snapshots of what might be in the 4 sections of the model. So we then invite you to comment and to discuss and to question. And thank you for your attention so far.